So, keeping my theory of always lying on videos, this is the Battle of Ausculum, part of the SPQR series that I'm doing. You can kind of see it over there. And setup's kind of interesting. I'm doing the full 2-day version of it. Now, the Greeks, set up across here, want to be fighting over here. Historically, the designers claim that they can't really make sense out of the discussions of the battle. But that what seems to have happened was there was one day of kind of desultory fighting over here in this terrain that was really unsuitable to the Greek phalanxes, unsuitable to attack. But then the next morning, they kind of woke up and fought on a different battlefield. Or maybe on the same day. Again, sources are very shady on this. And essentially, they tried to work out through looking at terrain and looking at the historical narratives how this could possibly have happened. And the idea was maybe both sides withdrew to camp and the Greek got an early start and were able to take a better position. You know, put some arguments as to why the Greeks didn't just deploy here to begin with. So the Greeks are pretty much allowed to set up anywhere south of the river. Well, the Romans had to set up first, north of the river, or a small group of forces, and I've got that maximum there, 12 units, I think, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, yeah. 12 units on the south side of the river behind this stream. Well, the initial Roman setup was all over here. After they saw the Greeks set up, they're allowed to move one legion. So I've got two legion, well, one double legion. So I've got two legions kind of mixed in. Actually, let me move these triarii too. I think I'd rather have them over here the way things are set up. Okay. Does this... Now this immediately starts to look like... maybe there's a way across here. The river up to here is not impassable, but it's much, much more painful to cross. And something I didn't really want to cope with. But if they're going to abandon the entirety of that western flank, it seems perhaps possible. What do I have deployed where? Well, the Roman legions are deployed more or less in something of a standard format. You get the Velites in the front, but none here. They're going to be really effective at opposing any kind of river crossing, just because of the extra cohesion hits they take. They take 2 from entering into that, maybe 3 from the rocky stuff. I don't know. It's just nasty. Nah, it's 2 cohesion hits for the most part. 2 for the rocky river, which is this area here. That area is pretty clear. That's only 1, but it's expensive to move through. But then, and the lighter units don't pay anything for crossing down here. Alright. After that, I've got sort of the main line or double line of a Roman army. And then the triarii in the back, who are still limited and are not really legionary units. Deployed some cav here, in the back here, because I think this is a weak spot no matter what you do. And that's about it. And then there's these ox carts, which apparently had very little effect, but they were the Romans' attempt to come up with something to defeat the elephants. Being portrayed as basically dragged by oxen, who are too stupid to be particularly scared of elephants, and filled with rattles and fire and all kind of crap to scare the hell out of the elephants. And they didn't work. Basically, the infantry ran up and destroyed them. Okay. So that's what I have for the Romans, repositioned to face what the Greeks did. What did the Greeks do? Well, for one thing, they've got their heaviest units, the phalanx, in column here, planning on sliding it over once they get their breakthrough. They've got some of their best hoplites ready to crush forward, and their archers. They don't have a lot of missile troops. Got a bunch over here. Those are guarding their camp, which is back behind here. The Roman camp is back beyond the hill. I put the elephants and some lighter cav in the rear, again with the plan to exploit. Nice heavy line of infantry, a line of medium infantry. The intention there, keep the Romans from trying to cross. A few light infantry up here. These are light javelin infantry. I don't think they could survive marching across on an attack. I think they're better on a defensive position. The Cretan archers could serve some valuable purpose there. And then got some more. I got my heavy cav along the line here to protect my flank, and some very light cav in front of that as a screen, just to prevent some probing type action. And I expect to use that if the Romans do try to cross. Well, what is the goal? It's a 2-day battle. It's got it's got a lot of units, and it's got very high loss levels. What is it? The Greeks, 805, using the same kind of points as last time, and the Romans, 660. Lots of interesting little things. First of all, we got 2 consuls on the board. And Sulpicius and Decius Mus. Decius Mus has special rules. He also has a very high charisma of 3. His special rule... Oh, is that charisma, or what is that 0 above it? I don't remember what that number is. I think I should know. I must have known before, right? Oh, that's the mortality, yeah. Okay. Okay. And that's not used in this serum, or in the second edition. So he's got special rules because his father and grandfather, I guess, rode into battle and basically sacrificed themselves and caused huge morale boost for the Roman army, winning the battles. It's debatable whether or not he did this. They don't think he did, but he's got the possibility to try. And if he does, he increases the tactical quality of all the Roman units. But Pyrrhus can negate that, at least in part. Alright, that's one special rule. Got anything else? I don't think there's too many special little... There's the ox carts, they're not too impressive. They're suggesting Okay, I'll explain that in a moment. The Greeks are a little bit more capable of being flexible in this battle. Their lines can be a little more mixed than in the former one. Okay, so the first day lasts 12 turns, and you actually have to keep track of the turns for this. After that, everybody goes back kind of rallies their armies. And then you make die rolls and see who wins the initiative on the second day. And if the Greeks get it, one option is they can set up pretty much wherever they like, including over here. Another option, and I think I'm going to play with this, is they actually have to move there from here. But the Romans have to move from back there. And whoever gets the jump will be able to move all their units first and be in a better position. I think that's kind of an advantage because... So the other option says set up the way you did for the first day if the Romans win. And this gives a little bit more chance of the Greeks getting an advantage, I think, and of things being a little chaotic there. There are modifiers, however. For example, if Pyrrhus never crosses the river at all, excluding skirmishers, then the Romans get +2 to their die roll. If the Romans have at least 20 size points south of the river, half of which have to be on foot, the Romans get a bonus. And if they have at least 50, they get a bigger bonus. If there are no unrouted Romans south of the river and east of the stream, and there are no such units on the 2-3 of the Heracles. Yeah. Okay, so if the Romans lose this, basically, I think they mean west. I can't imagine, because the other way indicates. Yeah. Okay, so there are a number of things that cause bonuses for the different sides. One of them is if the Romans move their triarii, the Greeks get a bonus. Now, remember, they're still limited by that. And that's about it. The second day will be fought out forever until one side breaks. But this first day, historically, there wasn't a lot of fighting during it. But I'm going to make that attempt to breach the stream. I want to see if I can get through. Because if I can, then it becomes much easier to get across. If I get stopped there, I don't know what to do. Launching an all-out attack across this seems horrible, but maybe sliding around with the cav and threatening the flank, things like that, those may work very well. So this could be very interesting. I'll try to get the rules mostly right this time. Again, multicolored Greek army, counters from everywhere. Hey, I found something cool. I don't know, can't show them, but two of the, vanity counters. One is for the leader Berg, and one is for the leader Herman. Very, very well-ranked leaders. I'm curious whether they made a silly little scenario to handle them. What are these things? Well, like I said, they're guarding the camp. If they get brought in on the second day, the Romans are allowed to raid the camp. And that's a special rule. And if you don't bring all of them in, it's less likely that they can get that raid off. I don't remember what happens if that raid happens. Looks like, yeah, the Imperiates have to lose an elephant and at least 30 TQ points of cavalry for the rest of the game, chasing it down or whatever. So that could be, a painful threat. Certainly, that sounds more expensive than a few light units, etc. All right, this should be interesting. I'm not going to be able to play it today. I got to go to bed, but I'm already past my bedtime setting this monster up. there's one thing. So, and I don't know if this is the case with the designer version, but oh boy is it hard to find the counters with all the different colors, with all the different sets. Now, there's some notes in this, in the expansion saying, oh, you can get this counter from C3I, or it's in the SPQR set, or it's in, you know, different options for how to get the right counters. And first of all, it would be really helpful if they gave the values of the units. They don't give that in general unless there's some sort of ambiguity. So for example, Cretin archers, they tell you we want the 146s because there's more than one type. But normally it just says, hey, give me this many of this, or give me this many of this. Strength points would be sufficient if we're using duplicate counters and all that. But I'm assuming the designer version is a little bit easier to cope with for that. Here's another side. These expansions, I don't know. I'm really leery. I've bought some that outside of SPQR for other games, and now I'm really worried that they're kind of screwed if you didn't get C3I magazines. You don't have all the counters. I mean, yeah, you can fake it, like they say. You know, you have, well, you can use this counter, you can use that, and that's fine, I guess. But it's kind of disturbing to me. You know, hey, you want to buy this? And most people do want the counters. Well, you want those, you got to go get the magazine. And it's not a cheap magazine. I mean, because it comes with so much in it, and each one does. You know, they got these special issues, but those special issues also include little bits for other games. So, for example, one of the more recent ones, devoted to Labyrinth, supposedly. Well, it still included a lot of some scenarios for Great Battles of History. So, I don't know. I just wish that there was a way that they would conglomerate the stuff that you need to play, and you pay for that, and you don't matter, you know. But whatever. I hope I didn't get too shafted by the ones I bought, especially the ones I have games for. I accidentally bought a couple that I don't have games for, and I might be able to still play the scenarios in them because there is a lot of overlap and everything. But you know, if you told me what the counters looked like, what numbers they needed and stuff like that, yeah, that would help a lot. You know, then I don't have to hunt through and try to guess what it might be, etc. I had to do that anyway. It said Carthaginian heavy infantry. I couldn't find any. All I could find is these North Africans, which I assume are Carthaginian, but who knows. Alright, I'm going to pack this one up and send it to you. Boy, that looks pretty though, doesn't it? Wow. I like that.